Did you know that 18 billions of cigarette butts are thrown into environment every day? Cigarette is not only harmful to human health but also to environment. Cigarette butts leach toxic chemicals like ethyl, phenol, aromatic compounds and also heavy metals like arsenic, lead, cadmium, etc., which causes the pollution in the water as well as to the soil where it stays, and it can stay nearly for 10 years. If you want to know more, listen to the episode. Namaste people, welcome to the show Get Set Green. I'm your host Pooja R V. This podcast was created as a part of Podcast Lab in association with India Film Project anchored by Spotify. Today we have on our show Mr. Naman Gupta, who is the founder of Code Efforts Pvt Ltd. Code Efforts mainly deals with recycling and upcycling of the waste cigarette butts, and they are present all over the India, and they take over all the cigarette butts waste by collecting it from various decentralized systems, and then they recycle it and they upcycle it into new products. So let's welcome him to the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Pooja. Namaste, people. I am Naman Gupta, and I'm the man who recycles your cigarette butts. Today, we are here to discuss about our concept, and lovely to have you.
That is our pleasure, sir, to have you. So as we know that cigarette butts are something which are most littered globally and they are most harmful also to say. So one thing is that what we find is like people, we cannot like impose certain regulations, like it's up to individuals. But once the waste is generated, it becomes everyone's responsibility. It will affect in various ways to our ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem through it reaches oceans and it reaches like it pollutes the soil where it is like thrown out. All those things will happen. So I want you to explain in your terms, like how, what is this cigarette butt pollution and how exactly is it harmful? Can you please tell us more about it?
Right. So, like in the start, you said that 18 million plastics are disposed every day. So, indeed, it's a very big problem. So, today I'll throw some light on the fact that cigarette butts, if you look everywhere, these cigarette butts are scattered at each and every corner of the roadside. Everywhere you go, you'll find cigarette butts. But the problem is not with the cigarette butts. It's the problem with us that we tend to ignore the adversity and the environmental causes that this problem of cigarette butts can create to our ecosystem. Numbers wise, in India, to be specific, because we are an Indian company, so and are based in India. So in India, around more than 100 billion cigarettes are being consumed each year. So after consuming, what happens with these 100 billion cigarette butts? Before us, before Code Effort Private Limited, the only alternate for the cigarette butts was to end up in the roadsides or end up as general litter. But if you talk about the amount of volume that this cigarette bud is creating annually just in India, right now we are just talking about India.
Yes.
So in India, it is estimated that more than 26,000 tons of cigarette butts are being generated in India each year. Globally, it's a fact that it is the number one littered single-use plastic. Along with that, a single cigarette butt takes more than 10 to 12 years to decompose naturally, and because it can absorb and trap various harmful toxic effluents that can harm the ecosystem as well as human life and other species. So because of its high absorbing qualities, it leaches various toxin effluents in our soil and our water bodies, which eventually harms our groundwater table. So these are the problems that the cigarette butts can create, and because it is a form of plastic enough, and we are here to eradicate cigarette butts and recycle them in the most environmentally responsible manner.
Yeah, rightly said, sir. We can understand like what is its total environmental impacts. As you were talking about leach it, the other extreme worst effect of this is because the contents of a cigarette butt. It contains arsenic, HCN, that is hydrogen cyanide, and acetaldehyde. Other so many chemicals are present in that one single butt. So we can understand that if one single butt is lying on the ground, it is for sure that so much amount of chemicals are going into the ground, and of course it will cause soil pollution. Along with that, it will also affect our groundwater table. So, and I felt really good that that you are creating a solution wherein you are using all those butts to create useful products. And I found Code Efforts doing an excellent job in this problem solving, which is to use that waste, or in I can say like upcycle in such a way that it is coming out as totally a new product, which is totally required right now, so as to eradicate so much amount and huge amount of pollution and littering which is happening because of cigarette butts. So I would like to know more about Code Efforts Private Limited. Like how exactly do you procure, what do you do, and what are the services you are providing, and how exactly it works? Can you please tell us more regarding that?
Right. So, in a nutshell, code effort is an abbreviation for conserving our depleting environment. And code effort is a collective effort to recycle cigarette butts and create upcycle products such as home decor, stationery, soft toys, mosquito repellents, and many more. Now, I'll explain you a bit more detailed version of what exactly code effort is and what is our mission. So at Code Effort, we provide a holistic end-to-end solution to this problem of cigarette butts. Through our solution, first we procure the cigarette butt from all over the nation. Currently, we have operations, we have collection agents spread across more than 200 districts in India who manage and supply us the cigarette butts. This is one part, the procurement part. The second part of our solution is to process the procured cigarette butts. So this processing happens at our location. We are based in Noida city. Noida city comes under the state of Uttar Pradesh. So here we have our facility where we recycle the cigarette butts using our own proprietary and confidential process. Now, after recycling and after the processing is complete, the third part of our solution is to produce final products.
Yes.
So the third part is to produce final products from the recycled cigarette butts. So from the cigarette butts, currently, if you have seen or observed a cigarette butt, it generally has two major components. The first one is the paper covering, that is generally white or brown color.
Yes.
That is a biodegradable part. And the other component of the cigarette waste is the polymer, the cellulose acetate, the plastic cotton-like material, which takes more than 10 to 12 years to decompose. So these two components are recycled, and from the paper, we currently produce mosquito repellents, compost powder, as well as recycled paper products such as envelopes and other materials. From the polymer, from the fiber, we use it as a stuffing material in premium home decor items such as cushions, pillows, mattresses, soft toys, and many more. So this is the end-to-end solution of Code Effort Private Limited.
Okay. So may I know, like in the processing part, when you procure, no sir, there will be so much of other contaminants present in that cigarette butt, like how exactly do you separate like how do you do that process? Because not only that the contaminants will be present, along with that there are some materials, like as I said earlier, lead, arsenic, sorry, not lead, arsenic. So all these trace metals, like do you extract them, and like do you treat it separately? Like how does that go?
So, in our process of recycling the polymer, first it is shredded, and after that it goes through a chemical composition treatment, which ensures that all the effluents that the cigarette butts have trapped will get removed from the cigarette polymer. And after this treatment process is complete, we take out the recycled cigarette butts, and the water that we generate is further recycled using our scientific ingredients. And after the wastewater is recycled, that same recycled water is used in our next batches of processing the cigarette polymer. So this way we ensure that our recycling process is closed loop. Also, not just it is closed loop, but it is completely carbon neutral.
Okay. So,
Yes.
carbon neutral in the sense, like there are no GHG emissions happening in the whole treatment process.
Yes, not just GHG emissions, but we don't have any further residue left after recycling of the cigarette butts. So if we are processing 100 kgs, so 100% utilization of materials is achieved through our recycling process.
Okay, that's good to know
Yeah.
that there is proper closed loop of that process. And
Right.
like what we already like we have accustomed seeing cigarette butts, like on the way, on the streets, walking to them. So how did you think that you should use it, like recycle those cigarette butts, like that kind of change?
This is like the first step that I took before starting this venture of Code Effort Private Limited. Like you already said that it is clearly visible. It's
Hmm.
just that we tend to ignore it.
Hmm.
So similarly, when I was also walking through the roads, or whenever we used to go outside, hang out with friends, so this problem was clearly visible. It just matters that how we take action and how we execute it at a larger scale. So when
Yes.
I noticed this problem, I didn't just stop with the idea. I
Hmm.
started researching of what exactly is happening with the cigarette butts. And through my findings, I found that there are no appropriate, even in India, we don't even have the adequate infrastructure to dispose these cigarette butts. So
Hmm.
the smoker ends up throwing it on the roadside, because that cigarette butt cannot be thrown into a normal trash bin
Hmm.
because it can catch fire. So smokers are also cautious of the environment. That is why they generally stub it under their feet
Hmm.
and then walk past through that cigarette butt. So
Okay.
similarly, once I noticed this problem, I
Hmm.
started researching, and through our extensive research and almost more than 6-7 months
Hmm.
we took to come up with the solution so that we can recycle the cigarette butts. And at Code Effort also, the main core of our
Hmm.
company is that we can recycle cigarette butts. And
Okay.
because we can recycle them cigarette butts, so we
Hmm.
have built a complete system and a complete business
Hmm.
around the recycling of cigarette butts concept.
Okay, so you also mentioned that there are people located around the nation, like that is how you are procuring all these waste littered cigarette
Yeah.
butts. So can you tell me that part, like how are you managing it? Like are they volunteers, or like do you pay them like in terms like how much ever they collect in terms of that, or else like can anyone volunteer? I'm asking a question from my side, that can anyone who just wants to contribute to you, like who supports your cause, can he or she come and do like the procurement process for you guys? Is that possible?
Yes. So for procurement, we have multiple mechanisms through which we procure our cigarette butts as raw materials.
Hmm.
The first one is a collection service that is limited to Noida, Delhi, and Gurgaon cities.
Okay.
This service is applicable for residential people who smoke at their home or
Hmm.
their premises.
Hmm.
The other service is available for corporate companies who have generally a smoking room or
Hmm.
a separate area where their room,
Hmm.
and that is provided for the convenience of the smokers. So
Okay.
there we provide a receptacle branded by our brand name V-Bins.
Hmm.
This value bins, V-Bins is a receptacle to collect cigarette butts in a appropriate manner.
Okay.
So this service is provided to our customers located in Delhi, Noida, and Gurgaon.
Hmm.
This is one mechanism to procure the cigarette butts. Apart from that, because we are a recycling company and we require bulk quantities so
Hmm.
that we can sustain in the market.
Okay.
So to ensure continuous and bulk supply, we have developed an business model through which if somebody, like you mentioned, volunteer,
Hmm.
so anybody can volunteer from any state, any district, anywhere, any part of India,
Hmm.
and they can just transport the cigarette butts to our factory,
Hmm.
and we'll definitely pay them a incentive in exchange of the quantity that they have provided, be it 1 kg, 5 kg, any
Hmm.
quantity, that doesn't matter. And
Okay.
that volunteering is free of charge. There is
Hmm.
no financial registration charges involved
Hmm.
in volunteering with us. The other model is a contract system, that is a supplier agreement,
Hmm.
that is a district based exclusive agreement through which we give our associates, our suppliers, a monthly target to fulfill. And if they fulfill the minimum target per
Hmm.
month, they
Hmm.
get a higher rate in comparison to the volunteering rates, so that they can also focus on collecting more and more quantities
Hmm.
and making money along with saving the society and cleaning their environment.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool, like procuring things and how anyone who wants to contribute can contribute to this effect. That's good to know. I was about to ask regarding like what will be the mission and vision for the coming years of code efforts, like what will be the major thing which you benchmark which you have set to reach that point?
So right now, mission wise, currently because we started this company Code Effort Private Limited in the year 2018.
Hmm.
So because we've been into the market since more than 3 years, I must say
Okay.
this is the fourth year that we are running.
Yeah.
So we have established a decent market in terms of waste collection.
Okay.
And after that, I must say that right now we are
Hmm.
focusing more on making our final products and marketing our final products so that we can stabilize our business model.
Hmm.
And then in the longer run,
Hmm.
our vision is to collect as much as cigarette butts as we can
Hmm.
and recycle to the maximum capacity, so that not just right now, like we are doing more than 30 tons per month
Hmm.
of cigarette butt. So
Okay.
in the longer run, we have a vision to reach to more than 300, 400 tons monthly
Hmm.
quantities to recycle and solve this problem at a larger scale, not just in India, but globally.
Okay, so I should say that 30 million is not a small number to say, to having that, causing that impact on the society, and how you are serving the society because of this cause. And also, sir, as you are
30
saying,
tons. 30 tons is the amount of cigarette waste that we recycle every month. But
okay.
numbers wise, I can give you a number like in the previous financial year around 2021,
Hmm.
March ending,
Yeah.
we had touched more than 350 million. So if we
Okay.
calculate this year's amount of cigarette waste,
Hmm.
so we might have recycled more than 1 billion cigarette butts
Okay.
so far within these 3 years.
Yeah.
So, cigarette butts is a huge problem.
That's terrific, 1 billion, like I'm feeling happy to say that, there are 1 billion less cigarette butts on the roads of India now.
Right.
And yes, sir, as you were saying about your recycling your products, are you considering, like, even after the use of the recycled products, they have to come back again? They will, like, after the end of life of that particular product, do you have, like, do you want to add any mechanism where you take back those things, like a circular economy kind of thing, or like as of now
Yes,
you
we
are not
have.
planning on
Yes.
that?
We have that option available for our clients in case
Okay.
like our products are durable and will last for more than 2 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But even after they lose their shape or after their end of life, in case the customer wants to return that product,
Hmm.
we are more than happy to take that product back and then
Hmm.
recycle it
Hmm.
using our same process.
Hmm.
Because the fiber or the raw materials, the cigarette waste that we recycle,
Hmm.
after recycling, that is recyclable more than 10 to 12 times.
Okay.
So we really don't mind. It's
Hmm.
just that it is a collective effort. So we can give an option to our clients,
Hmm.
but in case the client forgets or if they let it go, then
Okay.
we cannot do much about it.
Yeah.
So like it's a mixed response for this
Huh.
thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so do you have that procedure available with you? Like, it's up to your
Yes.
customer that who has to avail the service, right?
Yes.
So, thank you so much, sir. It was great talking to you, and we really enjoyed, like knowing about the efforts of Code Effort and how you, like, were like normal guy and started, like, thinking about the problem by watching all these things instead of just letting it go. And I really applaud you for that, like working on something, a cause, or finding solution is much more important, because not only ideas are needed, we also need to execute them. So I really
Right.
congratulate you on that part, and thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much for your
Thank you.
valuable
Thank
time.
you. Thank you for your time. No
Thank,
problem. It was wonderful interacting with you and would love to connect with you again. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
In India alone, second-hand smoke or passive smoke accounts for 0.9 millions of deaths, and nearly 30% of adults in India are exposed to second-hand smoke. I sincerely request to the person listening, if they smoke, please quit, or if not, at least don't smoke in public areas, and also please don't litter it. If you don't smoke, that's so cool, and I'm happy for you. We'll come up with a new episode next week, so stay tuned.